Established in 1955, Canada's Sports Hall of Fame is home to an honor roll of Canada's most celebrated sports figures. Over 50 amateur and professional sports are represented. Tonight, 7 more honored members will be admitted as TSN presents Canada's Sports Hall of Fame induction dinner. The Sports Hall of Fame induction dinner is brought to you by Canadian Airlines International, Molson Brewery, and the Bank of Montreal. Hi everyone, I'm John Wells, and welcome to the 1996 induction ceremonies at the beautiful Royal York Hotel in downtown Toronto. Less than 400 Canadian athletes have been honored by induction into this prestigious Hall of Fame, and no one knows the selection process and how difficult it really is better than Alan Stewart, the executive director of the Hall. It is certainly an honor.
John, you're correct. This is the most difficult Hall of Fame to get into. These people really are the cream of the crop from every sport in Canada. We take nominations from all over the country all year long. The selection committee is very highly qualified, and I think when you look at the inductees tonight, you can see the results of their work. They're a wonderful group of inductees.
It's time now to go to the podium to welcome the first new member to Canada's Sports Hall of Fame.
To present our first inductee of the evening, it is my pleasure to call upon the 1965 Canadian, North American, and World Figure Skating Champion. Please welcome an honored member of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame, Petra Burka.
My mother is a very modest person. She is also one of the brightest, funniest, most with-it people I know. On the ice, she can be tough. Just ask any of her students who didn't do what they were supposed to do, like really tough. Underneath, she has a heart of gold. She has pursued her dream of creating top-class figure skaters unselfishly, and that's why this evening is such an honor for her. She never asked for the recognition. She earned it.
Skating was quite accidental because I was a very difficult child. I was very late born in my mother's life, and I had a sister who was much older, and I was a spoiled little brat, and they didn't know quite what to do with me. So the secretary of my father in the business suggested that she would take me to the new skating rink in Amsterdam on Sunday, so they got rid of me. And the first moment I stepped on that ice, I just loved it.
Her dedication would pay off, earning her the Dutch women's singles titles in 1946 and 47.
Back then, when I started actually coaching, there was nothing. You just went through your places and movements, and the men especially were abnormally stiff. They just had their hands sticking out. They skated like military puppets. Then one day, Taller appeared here on the ice and became my student, and I felt right from the beginning there was an artistic soul which understood movement, and I could maybe give him the movements which I always believed in on the ice, and that we could change maybe the style of skating which was actually not allowed for men.
Without really overstating a point, that the whole legacy of Canadian figure skating and the great skaters that we've produced and the place that we've played in the figure skating history of the world is directly attributable to Ellen Burka and nobody else.
By the way, this is a first. We are now a mother-daughter team in Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. And I just want to tell you, coaching is a daily challenge, and every skater is different. Nothing is more challenging than developing a young skater into a beautiful performer. That really does it to me. I was lucky in my career to develop so many competitors. I thank them as well to have reached their goals together with me. Hereby, I would like to congratulate my fellow inductees for this special occasion to become members of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
We'll be back to the Royal York Hotel in Toronto to continue the coverage of the induction ceremonies into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. We're back as TSN's coverage of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremonies continues. It's time now to meet our next inductee.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present our next inductee, please welcome a former Canadian Davis Cup player for Canada, former president of Tennis Canada, Monsieur Francois Godbout.
My friends, to properly introduce him, I must borrow this from Shakespeare. He dared do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
For 11 years, from 1955 to 1965, Bob Bedard dominated Canadian tennis like no one had before or since. He was ranked #1 in the country, and except for a loss in 1964, he ruled the Canadian tennis world with 216 matches without a defeat.
Sure, I wanted to become better, but never had in mind that it was going to be a lifetime passion. But he developed, evolved, and within 3-4 years, started to go to #1 in Canada, then you don't want to lose.
He had marvelous anticipation. He was a very accurate player, very steady, had a tremendous amount of patience. He could play all day long and quick. He was so quick that everybody was afraid to play him because they knew that he was going to run down almost every ball.
14 years ago, Bob moved into the field of education as headmaster at St. Andrews College.
Our philosophy is the same, that we want to educate the all-round citizen, and that's the key. And that's how we structure all our programs with that in mind. All these, in my view anyway, with a good structure, tend to bring a boy to look at the world in a global view, and he's ready to be a good citizen when he gets out. I feel great about the honor. It puts me in a different plateau, in a different grouping, which is select grouping, unique. And personally, yes, I feel very much honored, and I have to put humility aside, and I'm very pleased that I am part of the Hall of Fame.
TSN is proud to be a part of the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame annual dinner this evening. Through our 5-year relationship with this celebration, we've been privileged to sponsor the inductions of such great athletes as Linda Tom, Cindy Nicholas, Ann Ottenbright, and Karen Lee Gartner. And tonight, yet another. Truly a great champion and well-deserved to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bob.
Tennis instilled in me an unswerving faith in myself, and for that, I owe a great debt to the sport. I can say with some confidence that sports teach, and teach better than anything else. Every athlete knows what many other students never will, that nothing can be learned without discipline. There are no harder workers than athletes if they can be made to see the point of discipline as clearly as they can see the point of sport. What an honor to be here tonight and to join such an illustrious group of athletes and builders. As an athlete, one could hope for little more. Thank you all so very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present our third inductee of the evening, it is my pleasure to introduce the 1987 World Figure Skating Champion and honored member of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame, Mr. Brian Orser.
I have known Lloyd and Isabel for a very long time. I met Isabel about 10 years ago when she joined forces with Lloyd to become the better half of the Brasseur and Eisler team. And I met Lloyd about 22 years ago when we were very young, and he was a single skater, and of course I kicked his butt. Please watch the video for a closer look at Isabel Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler.
So many changes of hands, positions. That's lifting the competition.
A world championship, 3 world silver medals, 2 Olympic bronze, and 5 national titles. It had been an incredible journey for Isabel Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler, a career they could have only dreamed about when they first skated together in 1986. Isabel and Lloyd are now on the professional tour, and judging by Lloyd's blonde wig, things are slightly different these days.
It's actually, in a way, a little bit more interesting, I would say, because we can try a little more scary things, and we have no rules about not being able to hold the leg or for any rules that we don't have. So I think that's kind of better in a way.
Isabel and Lloyd have reached many peaks in their career, but being inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame could be the pinnacle.
I've thought about it and it hasn't sunk in yet, because for me, you know, when I looked at great athletes like Gala and all those people, for me, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I kept looking at them and wow, I thought they were amazing sports people. And I don't think even on the 22nd, when I'll be sitting beside the other nominee, the other winners, I don't think I'll realize that I'm sitting at the same place as them. I'll just probably still think that I'm still just watching them, you know, getting their award, and I won't realize that we are getting the same award. I'll think for a reason that my award is a different one.
As a longtime supporter of amateur sports in Canada, and specifically the Canadian Figure Skating Association, this occasion brings a great amount of pleasure to be part of a very deserving honor being awarded these 2 individuals this evening. Once again, on behalf of Canadian Airlines, congratulations on entering the Hall of Fame, and I can only hope your inspiration may motivate other young skating couples to follow in your successes. Ladies and gentlemen, Canada's newest couple in the Sports Hall of Fame, Isabel Brasseur and Lloyd Eisler.
Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir à tous. Even though I'm having a hard time believing it right now, I can tell you that I'm proud of being here tonight, and I'm sure that over the years, I will appreciate being a member of the Sports Hall of Fame. I want to thank you, everyone that helped me through my career. The first person to thank is Lloyd. Thank you, Lloyd. And I especially want to thank everyone for inducting Lloyd and I into the Sports Hall of Fame. Merci.
Tough act to follow. As Brian said, my better half, so I was talking with Ian earlier, and the one thing that I noticed that I thought was very admirable and thought was just outstanding was the amount of members that are returning here this evening to see other friends and see other people being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. And I think that truly shows that the memories that we all share, whether we're from tennis or hockey or figure skating or equestrian, that we all share a common bond. And I think that is very, very wonderful. And I just would like to say thank you to all the other members who are out there. I think that's wonderful. And I hope one day that I will be able to come back and do the same thing for other members who will be being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame.
As Dallas Stars have a night off, ladies and gentlemen, after an excellent start to the season, I think he deserves a night off. Please welcome an honored member of the Hall of Fame from the Dallas Stars, great Montreal Canadian star, Bob Gainey.
Thank you, Brian. After all, who's more qualified to introduce Guy Lafleur than myself? Having been a teammate of Guy's, we never skated on the ice together because when the power play was on, Guy was on the ice, and when the penalty killing was on, I was on the ice. So I had that terrific seat at the Montreal Forum, right along the boards, and I watched Guy play night after night. I'll let you view the video to see the story of Guy Lafleur, affectionately known to his friends in Quebec as Tiggy, and across our country as the Flower. Congratulations.
Well, I always going to remember Guy Lafleur, my first practice I had with him in Bedard Arena. I came back from the practice and I said to my wife at this time, I said, that's going to be one of the best hockey players I ever see. And I think I was right.
1 minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into the man, back to Lafleur.
Although he would go on to play for the Rangers in Nordique, Guy Lafleur was given a hero's reception when he first retired from the Canadiens in 1984. It was a bittersweet moment.
The first, I was getting dressed in the dressing room. I was with my son at that time, and jumping on the ice, the first question I asked myself, what the hell am I doing there? It was too late anyway. It was too late to go back and say change your mind, but I didn't really feel good about it. I felt I shouldn't be here. I should be on the bench with the other guys.
Today, Guy is back working with the Canadiens as an ambassador and playing with the hockey legends. To celebrate his Hall of Fame induction, Molson's threw him a party. Former teammates and childhood heroes were there. It was an emotional moment for the Flower as the memories flooded back.
D'avoir de tels honneurs à la fin de ta carrière, mais c'est quelque chose que je peux vraiment chérir.
I would do it again. I have no regrets about the things that I did when I played my 17 years in the NHL. But for sure, if I would have a chance again, I would do it, and with no hesitation.
There are a lot of stories about Guy Lafleur. Some true, some not so true. But the one thing I'll always remember him, the image that I have of him, is in a playoff game, or even just an important game that we had to win. He'd be in our dressing room, skates on, tight, his sweater on, his stick at his side, his gloves right there, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for an 8 o'clock game. Now, I don't know what he did for those 5 hours. Congratulations on a well-deserved honor.
The two guys who presented me tonight, they're true winners. We went through good times together and bad times, and I appreciating every moment of your presence here tonight, so thank you very much. You don't expect to be inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame or Hockey Hall of Fame one day because all you have in mind is to perform, give the best of your abilities, satisfy your public, and also satisfy yourself. So it's something very, very special tonight for me, and I'm gonna cheer it out for the rest of my life. And I would like to wish you guys a nice evening, and I hope to see you again. So thank you.
TSN's presentation of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame induction dinner has been brought to you by Canadian Airlines International, Molson Breweries, and the Bank of Montreal.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure as a former teammate of both Ian and Big Ben to have the pleasure of introducing them to Canada's Sports Hall of Fame.
Considered the best show jumping rider in the world, Ian Miller has been a member of Canada's equestrian team since 1971, competing in 4 Olympic Games. He was the first rider to win consecutive World Cups in 1988 and 1989 aboard Big Ben. Big Ben retired in 1994 and now enjoys his retirement years on the Millerbrook Farm in Perth, Ontario.
Well, retiring Big Ben was a real trick, because if he was a person, he'd be your type A workaholic. And he just did not take kindly to this business of not going to work every day and getting at it. And he recognizes the sounds of the various trucks that come in and out of here, and he knows the sound of the trucks that he goes on. And when his truck would leave here without him, not happy, he'd tear his stall up and he'd have to be taken out and walked, and he'd really get himself upset. And what we quickly found was that he absolutely required to be ridden every day, handled a lot. He needed that human contact. He needed to keep busy, just like a similar type of person. And it took about a year to get him to be comfortable and adapt to retirement. When I think about what made Big Ben great, I'll tell you that it was his heart, first of all, and it was his intelligence, secondly, and then it was all his physical gifts. I sure do miss Big Ben. I always used to believe there's 2 things you should never leave home without. One of them was Big Ben, and the other was my Bank of Montreal MasterCard. Well, fortunately, I still have my Bank of Montreal MasterCard, but Big Ben stays at home. I only hope that he tells the other young horses at home to move so they can carry on the tradition.
My personal pleasure and the pleasure of my colleagues to watch this unique partnership grow over the years. And I can think of no other team so truly personified excellence and triumph in the face of adversity time and time and time again. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you'll join me in welcoming 2 fully deserving members of the Sports Hall of Fame, Ian Miller and his absent friend, Big Ben. Ian?
This occasion leads me to speak about being Canadian. I remember O Canada being played for Big Ben and I in many parts of the world. As we stood at attention in center ring, I always felt that this recognition was for every Canadian and a celebration of our great country. I will not miss this opportunity to extend my undying appreciation to the large and committed team that have made possible the career of Big Ben and myself. It includes owners, investors and friends, veterinarians and blacksmiths, horse care experts, and good and loyal sponsors. Always remembered are the people of Canada who loved Big Ben and the journalists who brought them our story. Ladies and gentlemen, council members, governors and committee members of Canada's Sports Hall of Fame, fellow inductees, and to all Canadians, I give you Big Ben, for he is Canadian, and he has always belonged and will always belong to all of you. I thank you.
So Ian Miller and Big Ben join Ellen Burka, Bob Bedard, Isabelle Brasseur, Lloyd Eisler, and Guy Lafleur in Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Big Ben, as mentioned earlier, is only the 4th non-human to join Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. For the record, the other 3, Northern Dancer, Miss Super Test III, and Nova Scotia's famous Blue Nose. Congratulations to the inductees tonight. There are now 397 members in Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. And the next time you're in Toronto, if you get a chance, you should take the opportunity to take a walk down memory lane.